Hi everybody, happy Tuesday. I'm back. Welcome to my Tuesday Live at 5 video for today, which is October 30th. We're almost at the end of the month. I apologize for my absence the last 2 weeks. Our family had a little bit of a medical crisis with my dad. I actually was out of town for 2 weeks, about 4 hours north of here up in North Bay with my family, my mom and my dad. My dad almost died actually 2 weeks ago today. So thankfully he is much better. He's back home. He is doing great and we are so thankful. So I just wanted to pop on and first of all, before we get into the projects, thank you. I know many of you were commenting and sending your thoughts and prayers for my family, and I just wanted to say thank you so much. They meant so much to us. I was reading a lot of the comments to my dad and he was really, really touched by some of the things that people were saying. So from my heart, I just wanted to say thank you so much for all of your love and support through the past couple of weeks. But today I am back and I'm excited to share some projects that I intended to share with you 2 weeks ago before all of this happened. So they're still timely. There's a Halloween themed one, there's a fall one, and there's a Christmas one. So we're going to get right to it. So I'm going to flip the camera. You're going to want to look away for a minute because I'm going to put the camera on my mount and you might get a little seasick if you watch. So just look away for a minute and I'll let you know when we're ready to roll. Here we go. All right, I think we're good. Okay, we got somebody joining us. That's awesome. I am also going to follow along on my iPad here so that I can read your comments. I'm just going to get it up and running. And hopefully this refreshes and I can see my video. All right, so here are the projects we're going to be working on today. Oh, hi Kathy, thanks for tuning in. So these were ones again that I was showcasing as my product of the week a couple of weeks ago, but I wasn't able to do the video because it was 2 weeks ago today that my dad had his medical crisis. So I thought I would jump on and showcase these for you today because they are great products or projects using a great product. So these all use the Making Everyday Bright bundle. Okay, so we have the stamp set. Actually, this isn't a bundle. I lied. This is not a bundle. There is a bundle in the catalog, the holiday catalog, that features the Christmas Bulb Builder Punch, and the stamp set is called Making Christmas Bright. This is an add-on stamp set that takes and makes this little punch last you all year long. Okay, it's a great stamp set, lots of different images for lots of different seasons, and I'm going to show you 3 of them today. All right, so let's get right to it. I'm going to set that aside, and we are... I'm not sure why my iPad is not refreshing. It's not cooperating. All right, we're going to start with this one here. So I'm going to get this out of the way for now. This is a great fall themed card. Involves a little bit of coloring, but not too much. And for this, I am using this leaf image or feather image from the stamp set. And I'm also using a sentiment from the Falling for Leaves stamp set. This is one that I featured a couple of weeks ago as my product of the week. So I'm using this particular sentiment here. Okay. All right. So this is a pretty quick and easy one. I've already pre-cut everything. So we'll be ready to go. So I'm going to start with this piece of crumb cake cardstock. Now you'll notice here that I've got this decorative edge. This is cut using the delicate lace edgelets. Okay, these are often overlooked. They're in the annual catalog. They're not part of a bundle or anything, so a lot of people miss them. And they are absolutely gorgeous. So I wanted to highlight them and show how great they look with this little feather stamp. So I'm going to use some Memento ink, Memento Tuxedo Black, and I'm going to stamp my feathers kind of randomly all the way down the front of my cardstock. I'm not going to worry too much about that middle section because I'm going to be covering it up with my label there. Okay, and you'll notice that as I'm stamping, and I've said this before, I'm stamping some of the images off the edge of the page. By doing that, I get a sense of motion. So it looks like those leaves or feathers are just kind of falling across the front of the card. And then I'm going to take some of my Stampin' Blends to color them in. So here I have the dark Cajun Craze, the dark Mango Melody, and the dark Cherry Cobbler. Okay, and I'm just going to take, and I like to use the brush tip because I can get a lot of coverage in a hurry. and I'm going to take and color in those feathers. Now I'm not being super careful because I'm trying to do this quickly. If you find it's bleeding, you can actually go back with the color lifter and pick some of that excess color up. But I'm using a very, very light touch. This ink really, if your marker's newer and juicy, you get quite a bit of ink out of them. So I'm just going to, with a really light touch, fill that in. Okay, and we'll do another red one down here. Now you'll notice I'm only using the one dark shade. If I wanted to, I could blend these. I could use the light and the dark of each color to get some shading, but I wasn't really going for that look with this card, so I just kept it sort of mono or a single shade. I didn't worry about too much blending and shading. Great thing about these markers is you can keep it simple like I am, or you can do all kinds of fancy shading. Okay, so there's some red. We're going to add a little bit of yellow. This is the Mango Melody. So I'm just going to come in here and fill that in. This tip is getting a little bit worn. I might need to get a new marker. A little bit frayed. These tips will fray. They are not indestructible. So it depends how much use they get. These ones get used in my classes, so they get a lot of use. Now the marker is still quite nice and juicy, but the tip is getting a little bit worn. It's not quite as pointed and sharp as I might like it to be. So I'm going to fill this guy in, just like that. And we'll do one up here. I'll do this closer so I can see what I'm doing. Fill this one in. Okay, and the nice thing about these markers is, even though I'm coloring on a fairly dark shade of cardstock, the markers are so saturated with color that I still get good color even though I'm coloring on a dark background. Okay, this is a little bit of the Cajun Craze, this gorgeous rust, which is my very favorite color for fall. And pull in a bit here. Okay, I'm going out of the lines a little bit here because I'm rushing, but you get the idea. And I always say, if somebody's going to critique my handmade card that I have lovingly created for them, it will be the last handmade card they get from me. I don't know how you feel about that, but we often are our own worst critics, and we see all of our mistakes, but the people that we give our handmade cards to aren't going to notice. And we're going to do a little bit more red on this little guy here on the edge, just to fill that in. There we go. All right. So there are my feathers all colored in. Okay, next I'm going to take a little bit of our braided linen trim and I'm going to wrap it around the front of my cardstock. So I'm going to take a glue dot, press the end of my trim into the glue dot, and I'm going to adhere one to the back side of my panel, and I'm going to come around and around again, and I'm going to crisscross actually, just like that. And then I'm going to secure that other end to the back with another glue dot, just like this. Okay, I'm going to trim off that extra little bit there. There we go. Okay, so there's my front panel ready to glue onto my card base. So here I have a crumb cake card base. This is 5.5 by 8.5, and I've scored it in the middle at 4 1/4. I'm going to fold that in half along my score line, and then I'm going to use a little bit of fast fuse. You can use whatever adhesive works for you. I love my fast fuse because it goes over everything and it holds nice and tight. There we go. So that is going to get glued on with a nice even border all the way around the edge. Okay, so there's my card front done. You'll notice I didn't worry about gluing this down. I actually kind of like that that's not glued flat. It just adds a little bit more texture. Now, if I were going to take the time, I could go and poke out all those last little bits, but I can do that later. Okay, next I have a die cut stitched oval. So this is from the Stitched Shapes framelits. And I'm going to take my Memento Black ink again, and I'm taking that sentiment stamp from the Falling for Leaves stamp set, and I'm just, whoop, that's not inked quite enough. I think my ink pad needs a little refresh. And I'm going to stamp that right there. Okay. And then I'm going to take and stamp and punch some more feathers. So you'll see on my original here, I have my, oh, hi April, it's nice to see you. I have some feathers that I have stamped and punched out. So I'm going to take that black ink again, and I'm going to stamp one on each of the 3 different colors of cardstock. So I've got Pumpkin Pie, Cajun Craze, and Crushed Curry. And then I'm going to take my punch and punch them out. Now, you're going to see, oh, I did that upside down. That's okay. Here's a tip for you. If you do it, if you stamp too high, just trim that, okay? And then that's going to go in. Now, you see how this piece is really little and it's hard to get in there? So here's what you do. You take a glue dot, you add it to the top of your piece, and then you have a nice long piece to feed in, center it, and punch it out. Okay, there's one feather. I need to do another one. It's the same thing. I'm going to trim this off. I'm going to take a glue dot. I'm going to add that on there. That gives me my extra extended little piece, and punch that guy out. Oh, there goes my lock. Anybody else have problems with their punches doing that? It's not really a problem. It's just an annoyance more than anything. And then I'm going to do one more. And I'm going to stick that guy on there and punch it out right like that. There we go. Now I have 3 feathers. Those are garbage. So then I'm going to take and arrange my 3 feathers on the front of my little label here. So I'm going to take one and I'm going to glue it on there. And I'm going to take another one and I'm going to kind of glue it on there. And you'll notice that I'm sort of overlapping this sort of flat part at the top of the feather. That's just to hide the fact that it's really punched from a light bulb punch, not so much a feather. And I'm going to put another one right on here like this. Okay. Now that is going to go onto the front of my card with some dimensionals. So, and if you are if you're stingy with your dimensionals, look away, because it will appall you how many dimensionals I use on a card or on a piece. There's 5 dimensionals for you. I just like to make sure they're going to stay put and that it's going to stay popped. Okay, and then I'm going to stick that onto the front of my card like that. And then I have a cute little bow that I tied using my that same braided linen trim, and I'm going to take a glue dot, press the knot of my bow into the glue dot, and stick that onto my card. Done and done. How quick and easy is that? Super simple. Okay. All right, that is number 1. Let's move on to project number 2. We're just going to move some stuff out of the way here. Set that aside. Next is time for a little Halloween project. Halloween is tomorrow. Can you believe it? It's last day of October already. It's crazy how fast this month has gone. Oh, I see Carrie's joined me. Hi, Carrie. Hope you're having a good week. All right, so this cute little project is just a fun. I'm not big into scary, gory, icky Halloween. I've never have been, and since I had my son, I'm even less into it. He is easily freaked out, and as a child, just hated going out and seeing all that gory Halloween stuff. So I like fun and cute Halloween, so I think this little project fits the bill. So I'm going to show you how I put that one together. Dump all my bits out. Alrighty, so first thing I'm going to do, I have a piece of lemon lime twist cardstock. Now this measures 5 1/4 by 3 7/8. 5 1/4? 5 1/8. 5 1/8 this way by 3 7/8 this way. Okay. Now I don't know if you can tell, but I've already run this through the Big Shot using the subtle embossing folder. Okay. Now people often say, oh, well, you can't stamp something that's already embossed. Well, with this particular folder, you can. So I'm going to take a little bit of lemon lime twist ink, and I'm going to use from this one, in addition to the Making Everyday Bright stamp set, I'm also using one of the fun host exclusive sets that are in the holiday catalog. This one's called Warm Hearted, and my sentiment is going to come from there, and I'm also using these little sort of bubbly starry bits that I will show you. Okay, so here I'm going to take my lemon lime twist ink, and I'm going to ink up that sort of bubble stamp, and I'm going to just stamp in each of the 4 corners. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and that just adds an extra little bit of interest and texture. I'm going to set that aside because I'm going to need that again in a minute. Then I'm going to take a little bit of the Halloween DSP. What is that Halloween DSP called? I can never remember the name of this one. I think it's Cauldron Bubble or something. Toil and Trouble. Toil and Trouble Cauldron Bubble. So it's from the Toil and Trouble pack. It's got some cute little ghosts on the back, but I'm using the striped piece. I'm just going to take and add a little bit of fast fuse to the back of that. And I'm going to adhere it onto my stamped panel. Just like that. Okay. And then I'm going to take a little bit of this gorgeous black organdy ribbon. It's sparkly. It's got sparkly little bits woven into it. And I'm going to apply a glue dot to either end. I'm going to lay it across the front of my panel, and then I'm going to wrap those ends around the back and stick them down. Okay, and that just adds some fun sparkle. All right. Now I have a piece of gorgeous grape cardstock that is 5 1/4 by 4 1/2, or sorry, 5 1/4 by 4. And I'm going to go ahead and glue that panel right on top. I am kind of known for lots of layers on my cards. I sometimes get mocked for all the layers I put on my cards, but that's okay. I'm proud of it. I like layers. I like having lots of stuff on my cards. Now, that's not always a good thing if you're wanting to mail them, because sometimes they're too heavy. But this particular one will go through the mail with no problem. Okay, so that panel is ready to go. Now I'm good to glue it onto my card base. So this is the exact same card base as I did for the last card. So it's 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. Folding that in half, going to add some fast fuse to the back and stick that down. And once again, you'll notice that I like to assemble my cards upside down. I'm just weird that way. All right. Now we're going to set that one aside. And then I have this little piece of more of the Toil and Trouble DSP. And you'll see on my original here, I stamped the sort of light string across the front of that. So there's the stamp there. I'm going to ink it up with my Memento Black again. And I'm just going to kind of stamp it on a diagonal across the front of that panel. Okay, then that is going to get glued onto a basic black square, just a little bit bigger. Okay, the measurement for the basic black is 3 1/8 square. This DSP piece is 3 inches square. Okay, for anybody who's wanting to recreate this card. All right, and then that can go onto my card front with, you guessed it, dimensionals. And again, I'm going to use 5 because I can. I like me some dimensionals. Okay, that's going to go on the front of my card, just like that. And then I've already punched some of these little light bulbs, but I also want to stamp one. So see this little Spiderwebs light bulb? I think it's really cute. For those who aren't afraid of spiders, my son is terrified of spiders, but I think they're kind of cute. So again, I'm going to ink up my stamp. I'm going to stamp it near the bottom this time so I remember which direction it needs to go. Set that aside. And then I'm going to go ahead and punch that out. Okay, there's my little spider light bulb. Now, I also have pre-punched some of the little sockets. So there's the little socket that's in the bottom of the punch. So I punched some of these out of the black foil sheets. And those are really fun. I haven't used them a lot, but they are pretty cool. This project was the first time I cracked that open. So easiest way to glue these on is just with a glue dot. So I'm just putting a glue dot on the back of my little socket, and then I'm gluing them onto the base of the light bulb. Just like that, and one more. There we go. And then these are going to go onto each little part of the string there, using a dimensional. And you can fit one large dimensional on there quite nicely. So there's one. And there's another one. Oh, and three. And one more. Makes four. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm all about the sparkle and the bling. So I decided to add a little Wink of Stella to my light bulbs just to make them extra sparkly. So you can do one of two things. You can take and just add a little highlight onto the bulb like that on each one. Okay, or you can go ahead and fill them in, and I think I'm going to fill them all in because, hey, what's not to like about sparkle, right? And the nice thing about stamping with the Memento Black is it's not going to smudge when I Wink of Stella over it. If you use water-based, any of our classic inks, and you Wink of Stella over top of it, you're going to smudge that ink. Okay, there are my sparkly light bulbs. All right, just a couple more things to do on the front of this one. I have a little banner that was die cut using the Farmhouse Thinlits. Farmhouse Christmas, or just Farmhouse? I think it's called Farmhouse. And I am going to stamp, where'd my boo? There it goes. There it is. I'm going to stamp my boo. Now this is a two-step stamp like this, okay? So there is a solid stamp, and then there is this one that creates the shadow look. Can you see that? So solid, shadow. So I'm going to stamp the solid one in black, and then I'm going to use the shadow in orange to give me that sort of 3D look. So I'm going to take my black, once again, my Memento, ink that up, and stamp it on my banner. There we go. And then I'm going to take some pumpkin pie and ink up the shadow. Now, when you're stamping the shadow, you want to stamp it so that it's offset a little bit to the right. Okay, that's how your shadow is going to work. If you want to practice, do a practice on some scrap paper before you do it on your actual project. But I think that looks pretty good. There we go. Look at that. I wasn't even looking right on top from an angle. All right, so there is my little boo. Now, when I adhere this to the card, I am going to use a dimensional under this piece that hangs off the edge of this raised piece, and I'm going to use a bit of snail or fast fuse here. That is so that it lays flat when I put it on my card. If I do dimensionals all the way across, it's not going to lie flat and it won't look as good. So I'm going to put this guy on here like that. And then the last fun little touch is this cute little spider trinket. Now, when you get these in the package, they actually come with a jump ring on it, so you could use these on jewelry if you wanted to. I just took the jump ring off with a pair of pliers, and to stick it onto my card, I'm just going to take my little spider, press his bum into a glue dot, and stick him on. There he is. Isn't that fun? I love cute Halloween cards. All right, that's that one. Let's move on to card number 3. This is my favorite. I love penguins, and I just think the little penguins in this stamp set are adorable. There's that little penguin. Isn't he cute? So on this project, I kind of went a little penguin crazy because, well, they're cute. What can I say? So we're going to set this stuff aside. Just get it all out of my way here. And bring in everything I need for the next one. Okay, now this is a little bit of a fun fold. It's a gate fold, but it's not an even, it's an off-centered gate fold. Okay, just a little bit of fun. On the inside, I stamped Merry Christmas from our family to yours, and I stamped 3 little penguins because there's 3 of us in our family. I thought it was kind of fun. Except now maybe I should add the 2 kittens on there too. But anywho, there is the finished project. So I'm going to show you how we put that one together. All right, get all my bits again. So first thing I'm going to show you is how to score this one. Okay, so I have a piece of cardstock that is 11 inches long by 4¼ inches wide. Okay, so 11 inches by 4¼ I am going to score from the left edge. I'm scoring at 3¼ and at 8¾ So 3¼ and 8¾ Got that? 3¼ 8¾ I will put these measurements in the description afterwards, okay? All right, so what I'm going to do is take and fold my card base along my score lines. And hopefully I scored straight. That's not too bad. Okay, so that's how it's going to open. Now, I have a piece of DSP. Now, you would think this is maybe Christmas or winter themed DSP, but it's actually from the Tranquil Textures DSP pack, which is in the annual catalog. It's the one that's bundled with the Sea of Textures suite. So there's the octopus stamp set, you know, and it's got some fun little sort of seed beads that add some texture to projects. So that's what this paper is from. So, but I thought, as soon as I saw it, I thought, oh, that's perfect for winter projects because it looks kind of like frosted ice or snow. So all I did is I cut this. So this is 3 inches by 4 inches. So 3 by 4. So great for cutting out of a 12 by 12 piece because you're not going to have much waste. And then I'm going to put a little bit of snail on here. And I'm going to adhere this to that larger panel on my gatefold. Whoopsie, whoopsie, whoopsie. That's okay. That's not quite as centered, but that'll do. Okay. Then I have another piece of, I could use some of the same DSP, but I wanted something a little different. So I actually used some cardstock. This is balmy blue cardstock, okay, this whole card base and this piece. It is cut to 2 inches wide by 4 inches, and I ran it through the Big Shot using the Softly Falling embossing folder. Okay, so again, I'm going to add a little bit of snails to or fast fuse to the back of that, and stick that one down. Okay, there's the front of my card already coming together. All right. Now, oh, I just realized I forgot to put my twine on. That's all right. We'll put it on this piece. What I should have done before I stuck my DSP on, as you can see here, is wrap my twine around. Do you see that? But we can fix. We can fix. We can fix. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how to fix a boo-boo, because boo-boos happen. So I am going to peel up my DSP here. I'm going to put a glue dot here, just like that. And then I'm going to take my twine, I'm going to stick that on there. Come on, stick. I'm going to cut it almost to the same length. I'm going to take another piece, stick that on there, stick it to the glue dot. Okay, and then I'm going to cut that to the same length. Okay, then I'm going to do the same thing at the bottom. I'm going to tuck a glue dot in under there. And I'm going to tuck my twine in. Just like that. Voila. Problem fixed. You'd never know that I screwed up. Don't tell anybody. Okay? Hi, Irene. Hi, Melissa. How you doing? All right, so I have my twine on, I have my 2 panels on. Next, we're going to create sort of our focal image here. So I'm going to set this aside. And I have a piece of white cardstock, Whisper white cardstock, that is 5½ by 2 inches. So 5½ long by 2 inches wide. I also have my triple banner punch here. So I'm going to take and slide that cardstock into the punch. This punch works best when it's laying flat on your work surface. Sliding it as far as it'll go and punch. And then I got an instant banner. Isn't that awesome? So you don't have to worry about trying to trim it evenly. Okay. Thanks, April. I can fix just about anything. I've had lots of practice making mistakes. All right. So before I put my shimmery snow on, I'm going to stamp my sentiment. So my sentiment here is wrapped in the warmth of Christmas, and it is from the Snowflake Sentiment stamp set. If you want to see a complete supply list for this, if you go to my blog post from today, I have featured this project on my blog, so you can see the full supply list for this project. So I'm going to stamp my sentiment there. And then I'm going to take, and this is just a scrap strip that's all the same length as my banner, so it's 5½ inches long. And I'm just going to take and I'm going to make some snowdrifts. So I'm going to trim the edge just so it looks like snow. Okay, and that is going to get glued on there. Now that's still a little bit high. I'm going to trim that down just a little bit more. There we go. Okay, now that's going to get stuck on. Now you see how this is sort of hanging off the end? That's okay. We're going to trim that afterwards. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of fast fuse. I'm going to stick this on flush with the bottom of my little banner. And then I'm going to take and trim that off like that. Okay, so now I have snow. Easy peasy, right? All right, now we're going to stamp a bunch of penguins. Let's get those little penguin guys going here. So here I have a little scrap of Whisper White cardstock, and I'm going to stamp 5 little penguins. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then before I punch them out, it's actually easier to color these with when they're still on the large sheet. So I'm just taking my Balmy Blue Stampin' Write marker, and I'm just coloring their toques. They're getting blue toques. I was thinking this would have looked cute with red toques too, but we're going with blue. So these are different from our Stampin' Blend. So on the first card that I showed you, I was using the Stampin' Blends, which are an alcohol-based marker. These are our Stampin' Write markers, which have the same ink formulation as our ink pads. So these are water-based markers. They're awesome for watercoloring. They don't blend quite the same way that the Stampin' Blends do. If you want to use these for watercoloring, you need to use an aqua painter or a blender pen to get your shading. It's a little bit different technique. All right, so I have my penguins colored. Now I'm going to feed them into my punch and just pop them out. There's 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Oh my gosh, these things are cute. And 5. All right. Now I need to stick them onto the front of my card. So you'll see I have 2, 2, and then this little guy in the middle. So we're going to worry about him in a minute. We'll stick these guys down first. And again, easiest way to do this is just with a glue dot. So I'm going to tuck these guys in just behind my snowdrift. 1. And 2. And then 2 more on the other side of my sentiment. Just like that. And then I have this little guy. He's going to go on with the dimensional as soon as I figure out what I did with them. They're buried under all my stuff here. So we'll put a dimensional behind him. And he's going to go right on the bottom, just under my sentiment. And then I have this itty bitty, eensy weensy little heart. That is actually from the Cookie Cutter Builder Punch. And it's just a little heart in there. So the easiest way to glue this guy on, I'm going to put a little bit of Tombow just on a piece of scrap. And I'm just going to take and touch that little heart to the Tombow just to get a teensy bit of glue. And then I'm going to put that heart in that little penguin's flippers. Isn't he adorable? Look how cute he is. Oh, can't get enough. All right, to put this on the front of my card, I am just going to adhere it. I'm going to use dimensionals, and I'm going to adhere it so that it is flush with the left edge. Okay, so here's the left edge of my card. I'm going to glue that on. I am not going to put anything under this side, right? I don't want to stick this right flat or nobody will be able to open the card. Okay, so I'm only putting them on this side. Now, the easiest way to do that, to make sure that you're not going to glue or put glue where you don't want it, is to actually put your dimensionals on the front of your card. And then you'll make sure that they're going where you want them. Okay, so again, I'm going to peel my backings off here. Yes, I used 5 again. I'm sorry for those who don't like wasting dimensionals. And then this is just going to go on, as I said, flush with the edge of my card, just like that. Isn't that cute? Last touch on the front of the card is just a little bow. This is a double bow I tied with the same twine. And I'm going to just take a glue dot, I kind of roll it while it's on the roll, press the knot of the bow in, and stick that down. Isn't that sweet? All right, now I'm quickly going to show you the inside. I'm not going to take the time to stamp it, But on the inside, this is a 4 by 5¼ inch piece of Whisper White cardstock. Okay, this is another sentiment from the Snowflake Sentiment stamp set. All right, and then I stamped a couple of the little snowflakes. Oh, I forgot to do my snowflakes on the front, but this image is actually in the Making Everyday Bright set. So there's the little snowflake. Okay. And on the original, I stamped a few little snowflakes in the background. I used same ink, the Balmy Blue ink, but I stamped off so that they're a little bit lighter. Okay, I didn't want to take away from my penguins. On the inside, I used full strength. Okay, and then I stamped 3 more little penguins on the bottom. All right, so let me just bring the 3 projects back in here so you can see them all together one more time. Okay, there they are. Quick and easy projects, but lots of fun, and great way to use this stamp set. It is an awesome stamp set that coordinates really well with the Christmas Ball Builder Punch. If you have already bought the bundle that this punch comes in, then I would really recommend adding this to just make your punch that much more versatile. Okay? All right, now I need to talk to you about an exciting promotion that I have coming up in November. So November's coming on Thursday. And I am going to talk to you just for a minute about my November ordering special. So during the month of November, anyone who spends $50 before shipping and tax will receive a free pack of Under the Mistletoe DSP. So that is this DSP. It is from the annual catalog. So you will get a free pack of 12 by 12 DSP from me for every $50 order. All right. Now, if you spend $100, you will receive a free Hung with Care host exclusive stamp set. So this one is from the holiday catalog. So remember how I showed you the one that had the boo stamp in it? Here, well, on the next page over is the Hung with Care stamp set. Okay, and this is only available to be purchased with Stampin' Rewards for orders of $200 or more. However, during the month of November, you will, if you spend $100 with me, receive a free Hung with Care stamp set. Okay? Now, if you spend $150, you can have both. You'll get both the DSP and the stamp set. All right? So, if you place your order, as I said, this is not just for this week. This runs the entire month of November. Place your order using this host code, or you can email me directly with your order and I will put it through for you, and you will receive your free items. Okay? All right. I hope you've enjoyed this little video. I love these projects and I love this stamp set. I can't wait to play around with some of the other images for other occasions. So here we've got Valentine's, we've got some Easter eggs and a little Easter bunny. This can actually be made into a flower. There's a pine cone. There's a Christmas ornament. So many possibilities with this stamp set. So check it out. It's in the holiday catalog. And place your order at lenagrosso.stampinup.net using this host code and get yourself some free swag. Okay? Thanks for tuning in today, everybody. We'll see you soon.